Good morning and welcome to the Grapefully Yours Wine podcast. Today we have a special guest with us, Peter Lucas, longtime columnist for the Boston Herald, formerly of the Lowell Sun. Well, they can still run his column if they decided to do it, because I hired Peter years ago. He's one of the most well-respected opinion columnists in the state. Previously worked for the Boston Globe. He's been in covering political campaigns and presidential races since the 1960s. Good morning, Peter. How you doing?
Good to be here, Jim.
Good. Mike Pigeon, co-host, the wine butler, he's in the corner off screen. He's got a handsome look on today. What's that hat say?
1944 classic, the year I was born.
1944, good man.
1944, an American classic.
Yeah. So he got out of bed this morning just to drink the wine. So he'll be here off camera and stuff. And then we have our producer, Teddy Panos. Teddy, how you doing today?
Good morning, guys. Doing fantastic.
Beautiful. So I have to make this little announcement, and we'll get this right out of the way right now and into the show. This InsideLowell podcast is coming to you from the WellPoint Studios. WellPoint, the only health plan offering healthcare benefits exclusively to Massachusetts GIC members. At WellPoint, your whole health is their whole point. So Peter was on before the election where he absolutely killed it. Unfortunately, we had a major glitch. I think it was Russian collusion because we lost our audio to the show, and Teddy tried very, very hard. We even had CIA technicians come in and try to recoup. They probably got the tape and wouldn't give it to us, you know? No, don't investigate me. It was a joke. It was a joke. But during that interview, which is wild, Peter correctly predicted that Trump would win the election by a landslide. And he also said the Republicans would win the Senate, they would win the House. But what really got me going was when Peter, during that show, said that Trump would win the popular vote. I took issue with him. I says, how can that be? And he said, Jim, boots on the ground, the people are upset, and you can't believe the polls and the pollsters. He was absolutely right. Can you talk a little about that point? What made this give you that gut feeling?
Well, first of all, you cover a campaign, you got to talk to people. And I don't mean doing a poll. I mean going to Market Basket, talking to shoppers on prices, how they soared under the Biden administration, gasoline, everything like that. And pollsters don't go to Market Basket. I don't know where they go. I don't know who they talk to. But I don't know anybody who's polled. I've never been polled. Have you been polled?
I've never been polled.
I don't know who they poll. And I think the pollsters got it all wrong because they asked the wrong people their opinion. That's what I think. And I think this. I think it's a industry that makes its money doing polls for politicians who want the poll to come out the way they want it. They're paying for it, and they want the results that they ask for. That's the problem with polling, and that's why they blew it this time. And I have no faith in the poll. I go back in the newspaper business when newspapers would not run polls. They relied on the reporters who were covering campaigns to tell them who was ahead and who was behind and so on. That practice is just about disappeared. Everything now is remote, and there's nobody in the field. There's no boots on the ground covering the campaigns like they used to.
But Peter, some of these reporters like that work for the New York Times, the Washington Post, the Boston Globe, okay, they're supposed to. Well, some of them are very well educated, okay, and yet they couldn't see what you and some others saw, that some other conservative columnists. I mean, how can there be this bridge? You're a journalist, you're a reporter. They're talking to people all the time. Is it they're talking to the wrong people? They're sitting in this ivory tower. They're just activists. You mentioned that. You said they become activists instead of reporters.
Right. A lot of reporters now become part of the story. And I go back to when I was teaching a course in journalism that I used to stress that a reporter covers every story as though it's a church fire. It doesn't matter if it's a Catholic church, a Protestant church, or what it is. You cover the story, you cover the fire. That's the important thing. Your opinion does not count. If it doesn't count in a church fire, it shouldn't count in a political campaign. Just report the news the way it is.
And I look back at the 2 days before the election, the woman, one of the most respected pollsters, Democrat pollsters, was this Ann Seltzer, and she said she had Kamala Harris up by 3 to 8 percentage points in Iowa over Trump, a state that he took won twice before, and he ended up winning by 13 percentage points.
That was what we call a push poll. You push the results that you want to come out. And that was probably a paid-for poll to come out a certain way. And it's used in a political campaign. I go back to an old editor who just wouldn't run polls, because if he was running polls, he wasn't relying on his reporters. A good editor relies on good reporters to do the story the way the story develops.
Yeah. Well, Ann Seltzer has since retired. She says she's done with the business. So, but let's talk about some takeaways. It was very decisive that all 7 swing states went for Trump. I mean, the Democrats and Harris didn't even win a swing state, and yet people were cognizant that, they voted for a Democrat senator and the Republican president. There were some states where the Democrat senator, even in an open seat, won, and they voted for Trump. So they were really scrutinizing that ticket. I mean, it's amazing that they, for the reasons, economy, whether it was immigration, they were looking at the top of the ticket for Trump.
They were, but I think they were when they were concerned about the cost of living, gasoline, immigration, crime, they looked to the president for a solution, not their local senator or local congressman, because they're limited in what they can do. But the president has sweeping powers, as we know, on immigration. Look at what Joe Biden has done. And I think the voter can separate the candidate for the Senate from the presidency, and I think they split their vote that way.
Wow. Yeah. What the 2 major takeaways? Well, a couple of takeaways you came away with from this.
The major takeaway I from the campaign is how the Democrats have refused to assess what happened to them as a party in the election. The Democratic Party got wiped out, but yet instead of calling a team back to reorganize their approach to issues, they're standing firm in their jihad against Donald Trump, which I think is a mistake.
Yeah.
I look at it this way. Take Massachusetts, for instance. We've got 9 members of the U.S. House. We have 2 senators, a governor and a lieutenant governor. How many is that? 13 people? Not one of them has a relationship with the new president of the United States. So who does the governor or 𝐖𝐞𝐥𝐥𝐩𝐭 or Elizabeth Warren talk to at the White House after they've called the president Hitler?
Yeah.
So Massachusetts, I think, is in for a rough time.
Yeah, and that's an interesting point, because being a politician, you think you'd want to have a relationship with everybody on both sides of the aisle, at least, or like you say, reach out, at least send a note. Congratulations. Look forward to working with you. It's just going to be a simple note. I mean, that the Boston Globe columnists are hysterical now, questioning whether we're going to get the $4 billion for the Cape Cod bridges, other things. The Governor Healy came out and said that, she's going to fight to the end about having illegal immigrants, even ones with criminal records, deported, which I could see her, saying, okay, defending her stance, but saying, gee, we need some help after spending $1 billion last year and sending budgets into a tailspin.
I think, Jim, one of the more interesting developments that's going to take place in Massachusetts is who is Trump's guy in Massachusetts.
Interesting.
Whoever Trump picks as his guy, his go-to guy, not an elected official, because we don't have any Trump backers who are elected to public office. But there'll be a Trump person here who'll be in charge of patronage, federal grants, federal appropriations, and so on. And the irony is that person, whoever it will be, will have more power than all the elected officials, Democrats in Massachusetts, when it comes relating to the federal government.
Interesting observation. Do you have any ideas?
Yeah, I've got a couple ideas, but I'm told not to release it at this time.
Okay, you'll have to read. Peter writes 3 columns a week in the Boston Herald. You'll have to be watching for his column and get the inside scoop on all of that. So, Peter, a lot has happened. I mean, different from 2016 when President Trump was first elected. I mean, he's really hit the ground running, naming the cabinet posts, filling them, and even the undercard. He's really quickly. So he thought this thing out while he was in the last stages of the campaign cycle.
Well, I think he learned so much from his first administration. When he was first elected in 2016, he knew hardly anyone in Washington, and he relied on people who gave him a lot of bad advice, including people who recommended cabinet members and so on and so forth. And I think it was a great learning experience. And I think it's benefited him this time around because he knows everybody. He knows all the players, and he knows who he wants to appoint. He doesn't have to rely on anybody, although he may. But all these choices are his choices in the final analysis. And some are controversial, but so isn't Trump.
Yeah. Well, this is what gets me. Yeah, I'm not agreement with all of the picks, and we can talk about some of them. But it's the president's choice who he selects, and for those top cabinet posts, they have to go through Senate confirmation, and it's advise and consent, and that's why it goes through a Senate confirmation process. But once again, a lot of people, basically on the liberal side, the Democrats, are hysterical over it. Like, I mean, these are Americans who were selected by the president, and what did they expect from Donald Trump? Did they think he was going to pick the traditionalists, the insiders from Washington to take some of these positions?
He tried that last time. It didn't work out so well.
Half of them turned on him.
Right.
You know?
Right.
So let's just talk about a couple of them. I thought Mark Rubio, was Secretary of State, was a solid pick.
I think that's a terrific pick. I think he'll be a great Secretary of State. He's been around. He knows foreign policy, and he's a trustworthy pick.
I think he'll do well, and I also like the pick of Congresswoman Stefanik from New York. She's going to be the UN ambassador to the UN, and big defender of Israel. She's not a warmonger. So I think she's gonna be pretty good there.
That was a solid pick too, and it's next door to her congressional district anyway.
What did you think about Kristi Noem? Is that it? Noem, the governor of South Dakota. She's going to be the head of Homeland Security.
Right, and her neighbor, the governor of North Dakota, he got it appointed.
Yeah, Bourgogne.
So we have South Dakota and North Dakota now have no governors. So if you're interested in running for an open seat, go to South and North Dakota.
Yeah, that's probably the first time in American history North and South Dakota get such much attention. You know.
I think she's a controversial pick, but that doesn't mean she won't be able to do the job.
Yeah.
And Homeland Security, of all the agencies that needs to be reorganized, it's Homeland Security. Beginning with the border and FEMA, and oh my, they have more problems there than Putin has in Moscow.
Well, it's interesting. Is that going to be the theme, you think, of the Trump administration? Reorganize and make government smaller? Do you think that will that be the agenda?
This is the first time in 50 years that they're going to concentrate on cutting waste, fraud, and abuse in the federal government, of which I'm sure there's many targets. And He's got Elon Musk on that,
Yeah.
and
Ramaswamy.
and those two guys are brilliant.
Yeah.
And I think they'll come up with some substantial cuts in federal waste.
Now, and then we have Robert Kennedy Jr. He's taken over Health and Human Services. That was a surprising pick, and he's even getting criticism from his own family. I thought blood was blood.
Well, you got criticized him for eating that Big Mac on Trump's airplane. But the problem is I feel kind of sorry. The Kennedy family is just falling apart. Mm-hmm. And here we have Robert Kennedy Jr. joining the cabinet, and half of his family or more are criticizing or attacking him. It's just too bad what it's done to the family. You might think it was like a religion, that he's been excommunicated because he shifted from the Democrat to becoming a Trump supporter.
Well, it is a thing that really that irks me about, because when he was running for president as an independent, I looked at some of his viewpoints and stuff, and they might seem radical, but they're really not. He was not saying ban vaccines. He was trying to raise the awareness about you should think twice about giving your children vaccines, okay, and maybe reducing the number of vaccines what they do, because a lot of people agree with his the preservatives they put in food. I mean, there's a lot of followers that he got because these kids are eating crap in school, the sugars, all the sugars and everything else that are in and foods that kids eat, candy, cupcakes, everything else. They're not healthy for you.
Jim, you've been to Europe. I've been to Europe many times. Mm-hmm. I've been to Europe 50 times. I love Europe. One of the things I like about Europe is the food. Even in poverty-stricken countries, the food that the people get to eat is more wholesome and better than the processed food that we get in the United States.
Absolutely.
Now, people think I'm crazy, but
no, dude,
I can go to a restaurant in Tirana, Albania, and have a better, healthier meal than they get in the United States.
Oh yeah. Well, you go to Italy. I mean, it's all local ingredients, herbs. I go to an Italian restaurant here in America, and I have to tell the waiter or waitress, listen, I do not want a lot of we call it gravy where I come from, but the red sauce on the pasta. I said, it should just be a dollop, because in Italy they want you to taste the pasta. It's homemade pasta. They want you to taste the ingredients. They put the herbs on it. But if you smother it and tomato sauce has sugar in it. Believe it or not, a lot of sugar and acidity. So, it's something to be conscious about in this country. And if you have kids eating bad food in schools, because everybody gets the free lunch now and stuff, I mean, it starts at a young age. Then you get this diabetes problem and everything else. Right. It's absolutely crazy. So, okay, 50-50 on RFK. He's got a lot of responsibilities. Okay, all right. Let's see how he does, but it's Trump's choice.
Absolutely.
He can always fire him.
He can always fire him. Yep. And then two controversial picks: Pete Hegseth as the defense secretary.
I like that appointment.
And Matt Gaetz.
I'll tell you why. It's refreshing not to have a general appointed Secretary of Defense, because once a general gets down there in a position like that, they tend to become politicians, as Mark Milley showed when he was calling the Chinese behind President Biden's back and, making these questionable calls to the Chinese. And he was part of the wokeism of the military.
Oh, yeah.
And I think they're going to get rid of all that. And that's why I think Pete Hegseth is a good choice.
Yeah,
to do that.
Well, I mean, the guy is he's sacrificed his body, given up limbs. He served in Iraq and Afghanistan. He knows what he's talking about, and I think. What do you think about these this sexual?
Look, I think this. When I think
assault,
back of
the sexual assault charge.
Well, first the generals. I go back to the generals that Trump appointed in his first term. General Mathis, General Kelly, and Miley.
Miley, yeah.
And they all turned on him. They all ended up calling him Hitler.
The only one who didn't turn on him was Flynn, and they prosecuted him. They broke him down, almost bankrupted him. You know, the only one that actually stood with him all the way.
On these sexual charges, you know, you can almost charge anybody with anything these days, and it gets into the paper, into the print, and into the mainstream of journalism. It's too bad. A charge is one thing; proving it is something else.
Yeah. And I think because he was a Fox contributor, Fox News Network contributor, that's another reason why some people on the left are upset. They just won't let go.
No, they won't let go. And you can say what you want about Fox News, but their 6 o'clock news is probably about the best news package in America.
Yeah.
It beats all the networks. It's fair. It's concise. It's balanced, and you can rely on it.
Yeah, but, I mean, Brett Baer goes on both sides of the aisle. He's had people on it. He's very civil.
And these other outlets are so jealous that they give it a bad rap. They can't compete with it. Look at CNN. It's practically going out of business. It's for sale. Maybe we can buy it.
Yeah, MSNBC.
Put this show on CNN.
I think MSNBC, too. Vladimir Putin might want to buy that. I don't know. But anyway, let's talk about Matt Gaetz, Congressman Gaetz from Florida. That was controversial. I didn't agree with that that selection for
I
Attorney
think
General.
he has much too much baggage. Not only the Democrats dislike him, the Republicans do as well. And going back to when he tried to depose the Speaker of the House, succeeded in deposing the Speaker of the House, and so on. And he's got an image of sort of like a creep. If I were advisor to Donald Trump, I would have advised him to name him to U.S. ambassador to the UN. There are so many creeps down there that one other one wouldn't be noticed another creep. I'm not sure that appointment will go through anyway.
Yeah. I think I think there was more behind that. I think this House investigation, the report that was going to come out, wasn't going to be complimentary towards Gaetz. He might have even been censured. I don't know. But I think Trump did him a favor, appointed him, had no intention of this guy making it through the confirmation process. I think we'll see Gaetz at some point probably pull out or withdraw his name.
And they got him out of the House of Representatives.
Yes, yeah.
Where he was a bomb tosser.
Yeah, yeah. So I think that might happen. Now, another, and one of the other inspiring choices I looked at, his background. I remember him, John Ratcliffe, the head of the CIA.
He did a terrific job. The short time he was there, a very trustworthy appointment. I think that's a good appointment, a very good appointment.
Yeah. So everybody is saying, well, not everybody, but once again, the left pointing to these people and saying they're going to be, just do Trump's bidding.
I hope they do Trump's bidding.
Well, and that's a point. Trump has a mandate. That's why people elected him to basically flush out the old, bring in the new.
He's got to reorganize federal government. They have to get rid of all the politicians who are the bureaucrats behind all these agencies that have politicized agencies like the FBI, the CIA. And they sit on information that they won't reveal to the public. We don't even know anything about the assassination attempt on Donald Trump in Pennsylvania. We know nothing about it. We know nothing about the guy who did it. We know nothing about how it came about. Why is that information not revealed? I don't understand it.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I think a lot of documents that were classified are going to be released under the Trump administration.
Yeah, they should start with the Kennedy assassination.
Yeah, I know.
Since the anniversary is coming up.
Yeah, that would be good.
I think they all have to go through information. Point that recess.
I'm not sure that'll work out.
Yeah.
I'm not sure that'll work out. I don't think the Senate will go along with that.
Yeah. I mean, some of those people would be confirmed easily and quickly. They did in his first administration, Biden, but then the others who are a little more controversial, they'll put them through the process. But the Republicans control the Senate, so it should be smooth. I mean, I just hope that they look at what's in the best interests of the American people and not just the party as they usually do, and make the right choices. But it's tough to buck a president, especially with, I think, the convincing win that he got. So at least give them a shot. Like Peter mentioned before, I mean, Trump fired half his cabinet before the last time, and
I didn't even know. He didn't know half of them.
Yeah,
They came to him recommended by other people, and now he knows. Now these are his people, and they're all loyal to him, as it should be.
Yeah, and I think the economy is very important. It's going to be important. I know that, Trump has said some things about raising tariffs, cutting taxes on business, bringing these companies back from overseas to set up shop in America, create jobs. I mean, that's easier said than done. Okay, it takes time, but maybe he could set a foundation for that, because you can't set up tariffs on things that are really cheap right now that come from China or any place else. Let's face it; it'll make things unaffordable for the American consumer. So things have to be done balanced, and I think he understands that. But he's going to push for it. He's going to push for it. And that's what I like.
Look, the election showed one thing. He stopped the bleeding. People are happy now because they can see the future being brighter than what it is right now. And that's why he was elected.
Well, I mean, the border is out of control. He's got to do something to come up with a rational immigration policy. Hopefully, with the control of Congress, I think maybe they could do something like that. And there are going to be deportations. I mean, I want the criminal element, the gangs, out of this country, and there will be challenges to that. Hopefully, we'll come up with a policy. I think that works, but we need something in place that is rational, at least a starting point. Do we agree?
Absolutely, and I think that's what he's going to do. And I think these Democrats who oppose it without even seeing what his program is going to be are making a big mistake.
Yeah.
And they're digging a hole and getting deeper and deeper in the hole. People want change. That's what they voted for, and they wanted the type of change that Donald Trump represents.
And one thing that will drive down prices, Mike, for you, even at your market basket when you go there and stuff, is going to be energy costs. You lower energy costs, everything else tends to come down because of the transportation involved, getting products to the markets and everything else. So I like the idea that he's going to open up the fracking leases energy. I mean, we've got it. America should be energy independent. We were at one time during the last Trump administration. Everything was going well. And then Biden banned fracking, bankrupted companies that had bid and taken the leases.
How about the pipeline?
The pipeline?
Shut it down.
I mean, I think some of those things are going to be relaunched, and hopefully, why should we be buying oil from Venezuela, a country that hates us, Russia, even Saudi Arabia? Why? We should be selling it.
All those changes that Biden made, he entered the presidency with a bang, and he's leaving in a whimper. That's what it amounts to.
Yeah.
Nothing worked. Nothing worked.
The first time in decades, the U.S. Military can't even recruit. Okay, they've missed their recruitment targets the last several years, and there's a factor there. I mean, Peter talked about it, wokeism, and they don't want to serve. It's a different military. They want to defend the country and be fighters. They don't want to be concerned about pronouns when they're in the trench fighting for their life. Okay, but that's what it's become. They got to read handbooks on DEI and everything. That stuff should be reserved for other parts of American society and culture. And I don't think the military. Yes, respect all people, but come on. You got to learn how to fire a gun, okay? Then how you speak to the person next to you, whether you're using the right pronoun in battle. Do you agree with me?
I agree, absolutely. And I think that's why Hegseth is a good appointment. I think that's what they're going to center on. And I think it's going to get rid of all the woke generals and all the policies that have hurt the military and hurt military recruitment, and bring back the spirit that the military is supposed to represent. Defend the country.
Now, I firmly believe that two strong political parties, are good for America. Maybe three. Italy's had 47 different governments. They've had 50 different political parties. Won't work here. But what do the Democrats have to do to become relevant again? I saw yesterday already they came out with the first poll that Kamala Harris is the front runner for the 2028 election. Okay, and she leads all of the candidates by double-digit leads, which
Who else is?
yeah. Well, Newsom, they had Newsom on the list, the California governor, and several others. But she had like 45% of the vote already. But what do they have to do, regardless whether she's a candidate or not?
Well, they have to come to their senses. Look at Seth Moulton, who is, classic liberal, and came out recently opposed to men in women's sports. And no sooner did he come out against it, because he's got concern for his two young daughters, then the whole Democrat establishment jumped all over him, attacked him, practically throwing him out of the party. Well,
They ran over him.
the people of the country, when they voted for Trump, voted against men in women's sports. That's what the people want. But the Democratic Party is not prepared to back down from their position that it's fine for men to beat up women in women's sports. Unless they start changing and become relevant to what the people believe and want, they're going to continue to lose. And I don't see any Democrat leader coming out calling for the type of change that the party needs to make to become relevant.
Well, I found it interesting that now the stories are coming out. The Globe, Boston Globe, devoted a lot of time and energy because it was Transgender Day, and thankfully for that, yesterday, I believe, about the percentage of males transitioning to females who are playing in sports. It's like 0.002% or something all across America in sports, as if the percentage is just so low, but we should let them, play against other females. But how about if that's your daughter, like Moulton said, where someone who's, 15, 16, 6 feet tall, just runs into your daughter, breaks her leg or smashes her shoulder or something? I mean...
Well, look at it this way. The governor played basketball at Harvard. She was 5'4". And she played women's basketball, and she was a star at Harvard. So she played against women and girls. What if the governor, for instance, had to play against biological men? An opponent that was 6'4" and outweighed her by 100 pounds. There's no way she would have been a basketball star.
Yeah.
It's just common sense.
Well, the I don't know where the end point is, but even international competition bans men who have transitioned to women competing. So I just don't know why they're allowing this when the safety of the individual on both sides is at stake. So, but once again, I hope reasonableness and rationality come to the service. But I think Congressman Moulton, he's made a point, and he's gaining a lot of supporters, and those are the same people who, as he says, I'm a Democrat, I'm not supposed to say this, but we all think it. And I think those.
But when you look at the media runs with the narrative. They go with the story of Moulton being attacked. They're not talking to anybody who supports Moulton. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So the media is in the tank on the issue, and that's too bad because the media is not even close to where the public is.
Right. And once again, your boots on the ground. Why don't they go and talk to these other people? They don't. You only get that one viewpoint in a lot of the stories. A lot of consultants, a lot of psychologists, and but the real people who are on the ground who have the kids playing sports.
The biggest winner in the last presidential campaign, were the consultants and the pollsters. Yeah. They went away rich. And she spent $1 billion on the campaign.
Yeah, I guess she's in a little hole right now too. $20 million. I mean, I mean, those entertainers. What does she think? Those entertainers, the people who go and watch entertainers, are going to listen to them to vote?
I like
I love Sinatra, but if he was alive and he told me who to vote for, I'd say, Frank, stay out of my ballot box, will you?
I like Frank Bellotti used to say, "Why would I hire a consultant to tell me what my business is?"
you know. But and the way she blew that money, she outspent Trump 3-1. Oh man, it was crazy. But I like the video now with Trump doing the election dance. You know, even the NFL football players are doing it. You know, the kids in the college game that's going a touchdown. You know,
It's good. It's fun.
Yeah,
it's like it's fun. Somebody compared it to what what Kaepernick did when the San Francisco 49ers when he would kneel before the national anthem. It's quite different. When
yeah. So
that was a negative. What Trump is doing with the dance is a positive. It's a happy dance.
Yeah. So this is a wine show. We have to talk about wine. But the last question: what is going to happen on the world stage? I mean, Trump pledged during his campaign he was going to end the wars in Ukraine, in Israel with Hamas, Hezbollah, Iran. I mean, is that doable?
I think it's doable. Don't forget, we didn't have those wars until Biden was elected president.
Has Biden complicated things for Trump by allowing the Ukrainians to use the U.S. long-range ballistic missile?
Absolutely. I think this is Biden trying to make an impression as he goes out the door. And it's too little. It's too late. It's only stirred up more problems because Putin is now making noises about using tactical nuclear weapons, which would be a disaster.
A disaster,
And that would be World War III. And I have a lot of faith that Trump will be able to end both the wars in the Ukraine and in the Middle East.
Here's a question for you. How many American hostages who were taken during Hamas's attack on October 7th, how many has the Biden administration brought home?
None.
I know.
Had Trump
amazing?
been president during the Hamas invasion and the capture of all the American citizens in Gaza, they would have been released. Trump would have gotten them out. Joe Biden was unable to get them out, and they're still there if they're still alive.
And Secretary of State Blinken, how many times has he been to the
13.
Middle East? 13 times.
He must have a house there or another wife or
I know,
something.
it's just,
I don't know.
it's just sad. And that's where our influence, foreign influence, has just been reduced to ashes, really. It's sad.
He's been over there 13 times trying to get a ceasefire. Every time he goes over there, it gets worse. So, completely useless.
Yeah, and but hey, we can go on and on talking about that, but we have to get into this wine. Peter, it was great having you in here, and continue to read Peter Lucas's column. He's always insightful, but the best thing is he zigs where other people zag. You read the same viewpoints all the time. You really don't become informed. Your brain is turned to mush. I mean, Peter has a great take because his sources are so good, and it's fact-based reporting with his observations. Okay, he's an opinion columnist. He has it, but it's based on fact. He's entertaining to read. His anecdotes are based on years and years of experience, and they're humorous. And but he drives the point home. So Peter, it's great having you here, and you were spot on with the election. And we'll be watching what you say coming together.
Thanks a lot, Jim.
So, Thanksgiving is coming up next Thursday, in 8 days. So I've got a great grape for you. All right. 2 suggestions for you. All right. This is from Burgundy, France, Gamay. It's a great grape that goes well with turkey, ham. It's fruity, spicy, but dry, okay? And it's and it's the basis for Beaujolais from Burgundy, Nouveau Beaujolais, okay, which comes out the third Thursday in November. So it should be hitting your stores this weekend. It costs less than $15 a bottle. It's supposed to be drunk fresh in the first year when it's released. The French make about 120, well, they make about 127 million bottles. Most of it is exported throughout Europe, but a lot of it goes to Asian countries, Japan and everything, because they love to party with it. It's a great holiday drink because it goes with well with all foods. Mike, you want to try a little Gamay? So this is a 100% Gamay, and this sells for, this is the 2021 from Louis Latour, a great producer who's got a lot of cru wines. Okay, taste that. I'm gonna have a little, but it's a good wine with foods. This bottle of the 2021 costs $19.99 right now. You can get it at your local stores, New Hampshire liquor stores. I had it last night with meatloaf. It was, really made meatloaf. It was excellent.
What do you think, Mike?
Soft.
Yeah, it's almost on it's got a light Pinot Noir texture to it, but I like the dryness. But it's got that fruity raspberry currant, cherry currant on the front. You know, when it first hits your palate and stuff, and then wow, it just goes right down to a nice dryness in the end and enduring. So that's a good drink for both white and dark meat, the turkey, but it also goes good with all the, all the side dishes, the green bean, almondine, potatoes, baked mash. Look at that, Mike. Good. So that's good. But now, you don't want to talk about politics, I guess, right, Peter?
At dinner? No.
So, but if you do want to, shake it up a little and stuff, I got a great suggestion for you. I got 3 Trump Winery wines for you. Look at this. Okay, put this on the table. Don't say anything, and just see what comes out. All right, and just do it because whether you're a Democrat, Republican, Libertarian, the Pirate Party, just put it out there and say, hey, it's for the president. Look at this, Blanc de Blanc Trump Winery Champagne. I want to thank Donald Trump and the winemaker Jonathan Wheeler down in Charlottesville, Virginia, where Trump's winery is. It's a beautiful destination spot, wonderful hotel. The wife and I.
Where can I get a bottle of
Well, that's the thing. Now I got mine direct from the winery, and look at this. The Trump Chardonnay, and you know what? The Virginia wine industry is getting better and better every year, and it's the Trump winery that is leading the charge. He has the largest vineyard acreage in all of Virginia, so you can buy these wines at New Hampshire liquor store. Yeah, and the Cabernet Sauvignon costs $29.99. The champagne, the sparkling champagne, this bottle here, because he's got some higher end products. This is in the Blanc de Blanc, which means it's all Chardonnay grapes, fermented, it's sparkling, $29.99. And this is a real bargain. The Chardonnay, the 2023 Chardonnay, $19.99. Okay, now they also have a Chardonnay Reserve, which is aged for a year, all right, which costs $29.99. I've got a couple of bottles of that. Like I said, I bought it straight from the winery. It is exquisite. It's won a lot of gold medals in the annual San Francisco tasting competitions and stuff. But these wines are all good. Okay, you'll be pleasantly surprised the quality in each of them. And Jonathan Wheeler is a world-class winemaker. When Donald Trump bought the estate, it was under distress. It was close to a decade ago. He bought it from the 𝐤𝐥𝐥𝐸 family. Which had really pioneered Virginia winemaking. And he just went in and he says, I want to keep the same team, just do whatever you got to do. He says, but I want you to do one thing. And they said, what? Change the label, put my name on it, right? And now his son Don runs all those enterprises for his father, and they've got a magnificent hotel. You could stay there, but the vineyard is just beautiful. Virginia's beautiful country. It's located about 10 minutes outside of Charlottesville, which is a historic town. So I think you really want to spice things up for the holiday.
Well, let me ask you, how many glasses of this Trump wine do you have to take before you do the dance?
I think you'll try. 2 sips will do it. 2 sips will do it. But you got to play YMCA. You got to play a song YMCA. So yeah, they're now in the New Hampshire liquor store. Now the thing is, you may say, Jim, why'd you buy it from the winery? Well, because if you buy a case of wine, you get 20% off right now, and if you spend over $247, you're eligible for free shipping. So I mean, so I bought a case of wine. It came to something like $297. I got 20% off, which lowered my cost to $230, and I got the free shipping. So I waited 7 days for it to arrive at my house. Now you go up to New Hampshire, you're going to pay the full amount, though, $29. So it's more convenient. Go for it. I got to pinch my pennies and save my dollars. So I took the $40. $50 rebate that I got, but also I bought Sauvignon Blanc, which the New Hampshire wine store also has, and like I said, they don't carry the reserve Chardonnay, which Mary Lee likes, so that's why I bought that. So you can take a trip up to the New Hampshire liquor stores. $29 for the Cabernet, $29 for the sparkling wine, which is a steal, and then $19.99 for the 2023 Chardonnay. It's a nice gift too for Christmas. Put it together, give it to your loved one or your hate one. I don't know, whatever way, But bring the family together.
Or a pot.
Yeah. So that's our take for the election, post-election, whether it's post-election party time or the post-election blues. You heard it from Peter. The other thing is, I bought a case because I'm going to have an inauguration party. Okay, January 20th. So hopefully, Mike, you'll be on the invitation list. So I know Peter will.
That's great.
So
That's great.
We'll see. But so enjoy the holidays. We're going to have a show next week anyway. We'll be talking before the holidays. But I say stock up now and make it. And remember, read Peter Lucas's column in the Boston Herald. It appears 3 times a week. What are the Tuesday, Thursday, Saturday?
Whenever.
Yeah, whenever. So read it. It's very insightful. So until next week, may the wine be with you.